Guys, I got something new for you to try. Maybe not new, but another angle to try this spring. You know, we've got the spawn shad coming on here in Oklahoma. You know, anytime the water temperature gets 68 to 70, 71 degrees, the shad starts spawning. And what happens, or what that means is, you know, those shad are really running the banks. There's just big groups of them, you know, on laydowns, on docks, especially on weed beds, shallow weed beds. You know, and a great bait that we've always thrown was like a Booyah Boogee Bait. You know, a bait just like this. But something that I've been doing lately is taking the skirt, the trailer, all off of the bait and putting a Yum Money Minnow right up on it. I'm gonna take the trailer off, and I'm gonna take the skirt off. And what is great about the Boogie Bait over the other brands is that it has a flexible hook. So the bait doesn't, you know, a bass is not able to throw the bait like it is with a stationary hook. And also an advantage is how long that hook is. You know, a regular bait, the hook would be up a lot shorter. But when I go to rig it, I want to set my bait right there on the side of it. You can see. And I can see I want it to come out right there. You don't want it to run all the way back to the tail. I'm going to have it come out a little early so I still get lots of tail action. You can kind of see how that hook's starting to come up at an upward angle. And it's very, very important to keep it all very straight. Try to put it right in the top of the bait. And I mean, it's got to be straight. Straight right down the middle, come straight out the top of the seam of that bait. And it's just going to run better. I also try to wet that little section right there not to tear up my bait, so I can push it all up over that. And those are also great things, because it really helps keep that bait up there on there. But you want to keep it all straight. When you reel it in, you want it to be straight. I actually got it out to the side there just a little bit, kind of got in a hurry. But rig it straight just like that right there. A good slow to medium retrieve. A completely different look. You know, I love throwing the Money Minnow, but the problem with it, you know, just the Money Minnow a lot of times is a sight fishing oriented bait. It's a clear water bait. Those fish visually have to see it. By putting it on this Boogie Bait head, I'm adding vibration to it. You know, last week at Gunnersville, I caught 2 great big sacks the first 2 days of that tournament, and I caught all my big ones on that exact bait right there. And the water there was, you know, like a lot like what we have in Oklahoma, stained, off-colored water, and they would just eat that thing. You know, I was reeling it up there in those shallow weed beds, same kind of weed beds, you know, that we have in some of these Oklahoma lakes, you know, just shallow river grass, and reeling it right down the outside edge, and they were killing it. Just an awesome bait. And you can also do it, you know, with the big Money Minnow. You know, these 2 colors here, you know, are the same colors. It's Foxy Shad, but I'm telling you, in ponds, I've killed them on this bait right here, catching some big, big bass. I put the 5-inch Money Minnow on a 1/2 ounce Boogie Bait head, just because, you know, it's a bigger bait, a bulkier bait. I put the 3.5-inch Money Minnow on the 3/8 head. It just seems to work really better. I tie it with big line. 17, 20 pound is a must. I'm using just Bass Pro XPS mono right here. You know, I want some extra stretch. You know, a lot of times they're hitting it so hard. You know, a fluorocarbon or braid, you're gonna feel the fish almost too much with those types of lines. So by using mono, I'm actually letting that fish get a hold of that bait, suck it in before I actually know what's going on. Then I'm able to set the hook. I'm casting it just like you would a spinner bait or a regular Boogie Bait. And my retrieve is just a slow, steady retrieve. I put these baits on a 5-to-1 gear ratio reel because I want to try to slow it down. You know, if I need to speed it up, I can by reeling faster. But a mistake a lot of times that I'll make, you know, especially in the spring, is reeling a bait too fast. I think it's important to still have some 5-to-1 gear ratio reels, you know, in your arsenal to be able to slow a bait down. That's really a key thing for me, is to be able to slow it down. But you know, I'm going to throw this bait, you know, up around weed beds, down laydowns. it's probably one of the best baits to throw along docks. You know, when they're really up, those shad are really spawning down along the sides of the docks. It's a great bait then. It's probably not the most weedless bait in real heavy brushy cover. You know, there's not really a weed guard there to protect your hook. So keep that in mind. You know, in real heavy cover, it's not the most weedless bait, but you know, you can still make presentations on the outside of the cover. Man, it catches big ones. I don't know what it is about it. I don't necessarily catch a lot of fish on it, but I catch some really, really big fish on this bait.